Okay, first episode of the year for White Line Fever, and we are at the Salford Media Day. I've got Marc Sneyd with me. How's your off-season, Marc?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Obviously, we've got such a small squad and what have you. It's been, but all the lads have dug in. It's obvious that time of year where everyone says the same thing, just ready to go now. So, yeah, only a few more weeks left, and we seem pretty ready.
Few players coming and going. Is Kade Cust the one that has the most sort of impact on you and what you do?
Yeah, probably more than likely. Obviously, trying to get combinations going with Custy since we got back in November. So, like I said in the last question, it's just a case of getting them games together and stuff like that, and getting the repetitions in with opposition against us.
I was at Cass the other day, and they've got like 11 new players. Like, as a bloke who's stayed, do you, when players come and players go, do you know first, or do you sometimes read about it in the paper like everyone else? You know,
I suppose some people probably stay in touch with the rugby side of things once that season's finished. But me personally, once the season's finished, I try and have a break away from rugby and stuff. So. Yeah, I kind of just see it on social media and stuff, and you're like, oh, there we go, and you kind of just crack on and wait for the announcement of who's coming in to replace them or who's coming in general. So when you get back in November, it feels fresh every year. It's just it's the way that it is here at Salford at the minute. So it's one of them. But if you try and take the positives from it, it's like you're in a new team every year. So it's fresh all the time, and yeah, it keeps you on your toes, so I can't complain. I enjoy it. I love it.
Now, the difference between 2 years ago at Salford and last year, was that numbers? Was that running out of players? Obviously, guys got traded mid-season and stuff. Like, I know you said you don't like to think about it too much, but when you look back on last year, what do you think?
Yeah, I just think we don't like to use excuses, if I'm being honest. So it's a case of us as a group being as consistent as we possibly can, regardless of the outside noise. So whether players go mid-season or we get players come in mid-season, whatever it may be, everybody needs to be doing the best to get the results. And unfortunately, last year we were a couple of games off that playoff spot. So it's it were a tough season last year, but like I said, with no excuses, we've just got to be better, I think.
Next up, we've got Kade Cust. Kade, big move for you from Wigan to Salford. I've got to go in the other direction, and there's a train strike, so it's a bit of but you went via Scone, so you've had quite an off season.
Yeah. So I went back home for 3.5 weeks just to catch up with mum, sisters, and friends, and it was a good little reset. It was a bit warmer than here, but it was good. It's always good to go back home and back to the roots.
Do they watch a lot of Super League when you go home? Obviously, your family do, I guess.
I've got most of Scone, so it's only a small town, but I reckon half of them have got bloody Super League jerseys back home. So they obviously it's at early hours of the morning, but most people get up, and friends and family especially.
So maybe they would have been drilling you much more than I can about the change of clubs. What you must have been asked about it 20 times. What'd you tell them all?
Yeah, I think I just said that it's a fresh start for myself. I had a bit of a turbulent 2 years with injuries and stuff, so right now body's in great shape and I feel physically strong as I have. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there this year and proving a point.
It must have been frustrating when you want to put your best foot forward. You're new in the country and injuries get in the way. Yeah,
it is. It's part of the game, and obviously it's a very physical game, so you can't get too down about it. You just try and come out the other side and put a point forward.
A lot of changes happening over here in the sport. I guess as a player, there's only so much you can do. But what do you make of it? Do you think the game's on the up with IMG and the changes in promotion and relegation and all that?
Yeah, it's a tough question now. Like, obviously, with their scoring system and stuff, it kind of takes away the promotion, the relegation and promotion. And I think for that being there for so long, it's a bit different. I don't know how they're going to go about it, but it's up to them, I guess. It's our jobs to play rugby.
Next up, we've got the great Kallum Watkins from Salford. We're still here at Salford. Another pre-season. How many is it now?
17 now.
not that you're counting.
So many now. Yeah. Doesn't change.
Yeah, do you remember fronting up to your first one as a professional?
Yeah, I think it was part of obviously the great Leeds team. I was kind of a quiet kid around then, learning from top experienced players. So the other way around now. I'm kind of the experienced guy, and it's still the same, still tough, still learning from different players, and obviously new players that have come in for our team as well, which is exciting for us.
Most people, when they start a new job, it's a nerve-wracking experience, no matter how nice people are. Is it the same when you sort of change clubs, and is it the same when there's a change of staff, or is it more like for you now at your age, you feel a sense of responsibility?
Yeah, it's always a responsibility. I think for me, it's about when new players come in, it's about making them feel part of the team and feel comfortable, and that's really important. And if you're comfortable, you'll be able to embrace the team and be able to express yourself as well. So the new guys that have come in have done a really, really good job, and they've settled in really well.
So what about all the coaches you've had at this time of year? I mean, pre-seasons you can get flogged, you can be protected, you can be fired up, you can just do skills, you can do no skills. Have you learned over those 17 seasons the best formula to prepare a team for a season?
That's kind of hard to call, because there's been a mixture. There's been times when we have been just flogged. A lot of the time we just focus on our skills, but there's some that's been obviously mixed all in together. There's been years as well, obviously playing internationals as well, that you don't get that full pre-season in as well. So I've had kind of a mix. It's kind of hard to pinpoint one, but I guess the ones that we've been successful in kind of work. But I don't know whether it's due down to the pre-seasons, but they help massively. Yeah, absolutely.
Now you're 17 seasons in. Have you ever started a season and thought, we're no chance this year? Have there ever been a season, any one of those 17, where you thought...
No, absolutely not. I think, my mindset is about winning, and I was part of a club that was expected to win in Leeds, and I think we've got that kind of expectation here. I think what we've done over the past couple of seasons has been great, but we want to push on that a little bit further now, and I think we've got a couple of players there that have been there for a few years now. I've got that experience playing in them big games. I know we missed out in the playoffs last year, but we were thereabouts, and the season before we got one game off the grand final. So I think for us it's about improving as a team, learning from them experiences. I can help lead the way in that, and got many others that can help as well.
What about off the field, the changes you've seen in the game in that period? And there's the biggest, would it be right in saying the changes taking place now are the biggest of your career with IMG and the points and all that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's keeping all clubs accountable, and helping clubs as well, wanting them to improve, and then that's going to help improve their clubs and improve their players' development, and then obviously fan base, but also the sport, also the game. I think that's going to improve a lot, and IMG hopefully can do a really, really good job in these next few years, and obviously the changing of the rules and stuff like that'll help and benefit the game. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Last question for this part of the interview. Will we be standing here again in 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? How much longer are you going to go around?
As long as I can, mate. Yeah. As long as I can, as long as my knees can stand. But I'm not thought about the exact time where I'm going to go and finish up in the game. But I'll go as long as I can, mate, and as long as I'm happy in that good place mentally as well. But also physically, I've got to be in the right shape. Obviously, playing in at this sport. And
how many positions? Which positions haven't you played?
Prop forward. Okay. Played all the backs positions, except for maybe a scrum half or stand off. But apart from that, I enjoy the back row, to be honest. I think it's helped me. It's helped me massively, because obviously with injuries in the past, that's probably lost a little bit of pace in my game. So I've had to change my game a little bit, and I think moving over to that back row has probably helped my game massively.
Are you saying you would like at least one game at hooker? Would you like one game at prop?
I'll probably end up in the middle at some point. We'll have to see in the next couple of years after that rolls out.
You have to eat a lot next off season.
Yeah, just a bit.
Final guest, and a very popular man. I've had to wait about 2 hours for him. Ryan Brearley. Ryan, how was your off season?
Yeah, good. Nice to get away from rugby league and chill with my friends and family and stuff. And obviously on the back of the World Cup the previous year, it was nice to actually have an off season. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
Now you're not just a professional player, but you've got a management business. Is that right with women's football?
Yeah. Obviously being their agent and such. So representing a couple of also the football players in the women's game. Really enjoy it. I love that kind of role of being a mentor and looking after them in the right way and protecting them from the other side of sport, which is the not so good side. So something I really enjoy doing. Probably been going about 3 years now. So got 20 or so players on the books. It's stressful, and it's as you can imagine, looking after 20 odd girls, but something what I take great pride in.
Are you in a position to kind of draw a comparison between the industry of women's football and the industry of rugby league in this country? How do they compare commercially? Because women's football is growing so quickly.
Yeah, I'd like to say we're in the same conversation, but we're not. The commercial numbers, what are being thrown around to women's footballs at the moment is scary. Don't really know when it's going to stop. I think the commercial value outweighs their salaries by some way, so quite the opposite of rugby league. I think there's no commercial value in those players, is there? So, but I think that's the aim, isn't it? I think when I first got into women's football, rugby league was bigger, but in 3 years to see the growth of women's football overtake rugby league and surpass it by some way now, just shows it can be done. So and I think we've got the products, we've got the market to do it. Ultimately, people in them positions have failed in previous years, but now obviously we've got IMG involved and people like that. There's no reason why we can't progress and get this sport on a pedestal where it needs to be. So
the salaries are still comparable, are they? But not the commercial value.
I'd say over the last 6 to 12 months, the salaries are overtaking rugby league now. They're getting up there, so the average is probably a lot higher than the rugby league average. And that's good. Listen, it's great for me as an agent. So, but I think what they do commercially is certainly a pull for brands and commercial brands. That's the main pull. Again, hopefully rugby league can kind of break into that market and figure out how they do it. I had a lot of people from the RFL and IMG reach out to me asking about how they did it and certain things they do with their players and stuff like that. So hopefully I've given them a half decent insight into how they do it. So hopefully in the coming months we'll see some drastic changes.
Okay, so following on from that, what are your thoughts on the whole IMG and the rankings and all that sort of stuff? Is that heading in the right direction?
Yeah, for sure. I know. I've always kind of said it. Your 12 teams in Super League, they have to be your strongest 12 clubs, not just your teams. I think you need to have more than just a starting 13 who's good. Like, you just need more than that. I was trying to make the comparison of, for example, let's say any championship team. Let's say you put Barrow Raiders, for example. If you're taking your children or your family to a sporting event and one of them can be at Old Trafford to watch the Man United women for £10, or you watch Barrow for £25, where you're gonna be? You're gonna be naturally more attracted to the Old Trafford, aren't you? Probably the same with Salford. You're gonna go to Old Trafford rather than watch Salford. So you need to make it more attractive. And IMG are looking at it as a full 360 rather than just a team performance thing, because the game's bigger than just 13 players. It needs to be a brand. It needs to be a marketable asset. Because that's what they are in women's football. All them players are assets and marketable assets for the game. And one of my players, she was in London doing a shoot for Puma the other day with Jack Grealish and people like that, and you think that's how you make the game big, which is so smart but so good and well thought out.
Okay, we've changed locations now. We're at Saints and we've got a new recruit, Matt Whitley, who's come in from Kade. I guess the weather, did you start to get used to the sun over in France?
Yeah, it was pretty easy to get used to. It was nice coming off from training, being in the sun all day, and going to training pre-season. It'd be sunny, it's not raining. It was nice. The first week when I came home, it rained every day for a week, solid, which was a bit of an eye opener. I'm back home now, get used to it. But yeah, it's been fun.
Tell us, what's the story behind the move, mate? How did it eventuate?
I think me and my family, we was ready to come home. It's something that we'd discussed long and hard about, and told Catalans that we wanted to head home, and I got in touch with Paul and Mike, and had the meetings with them, and you know, as soon as I had the meetings with them, it was evident to me that was Saints was the place I wanted to be. You know, so we got that deal done pretty quickly, and you know, I could relax then, and you know, just concentrate on my game with Catalans, and you know, knowing that I was coming home at the end of the year was like a big weight lifted off my shoulders.
Did you have to keep it secret for a while?
Yeah, I did. You know, I had my mum and dad sworn to secrecy, and you know, they wasn't allowed to tell anyone. And you know, friends were coming up to my mum and dad asking him, you know, like, where's Matt going? What's Matt doing? Is Matt coming to Saints? And you know, they were sworn to secrecy. They couldn't say anything until, you know, Saints had made their announcement. It was only, I think, a week after the grand final they made their announcement, so it was a pretty long secret.
There was some big matches, like you said, between the two clubs towards the end of the year. Was it like, is there banter? Does anyone say anything during the match, or do people say things in the crowd when the rumours are swirling? You know,
definitely not. You know, during a match like between the players, I think we're pretty focused and you know, on the job that we need to do. And you know, when you're playing Saints, it's a massive game, no matter when it is in the league, never mind the semi-finals, the playoffs. So it's a big game, yeah. But you know, you hear a couple of comments in the crowd after the game and stuff, but you just got to laugh it off and, you know, just keep concentrated and, you know, focused on the job what you got to do.
We'll go back almost 12 months, the World Club Challenge. Were you able to watch it in France? Did you watch it live? And what do you remember of it?
Yeah, I remember. I'm not quite sure where he was, but yeah, I remember catching bits of the game, and you know, especially going to extra time. I didn't watch it all, but I watched a bit going to extra time, and you know, Doddy kicking the winner, which was, you know, it's fantastic for him, and it's something he's not let people live down either.
Do you get an insight into when you come into a club like this, why they're successful, that you can't see from the outside?
I think just the quality that I've got across the board. You know, it's not one or two players what a class. You know, it's a full 1 to 17, full beyond that. You know, there's a lot of very good players here, and you know, they train really hard, and they've got a really close knit group, which is evident to see. And you know, it's no surprise why they do so well.
Okay, and our next guest is, I reckon, maybe the guy who's got the biggest boots to fill in Super League this year. Sorry to say that, Daryl Clark. We're at St Helens. Is that a fair statement? Or?
Yeah, it's a statement I've been earning quite a while over the last couple of months. But obviously, I knew the pressure of the role when I signed up for it. So yeah, look, I've been working hard and trying to put myself in a good position to start the season well, and I believe if I do that, I can add value to the team. So yeah, obviously that's all I can do is put my best foot forward and see what happens.
We just spoke to Matt about keeping it secret for a long period that he was coming here, but for you that was a massive thing, wasn't it? Because people knew months before it was announced. What was that like to live through, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, I knew it weren't announced, so I was trying to keep it close to my chest. But a lot of people seem to know more about what I was doing than I knew myself. So, but like you said, it's pretty hard to keep secrets these days. Obviously, with social media and obviously different news outlets and stuff like that. So, yeah, eventually when it got announced, it weren't really much of a surprise. But no, obviously, exciting for me after being at Warrington such a long time. I think 9 years I was there. So, yeah, just really looking forward to a new challenge, and I think hopefully it'll do me good.
How do you look back on those 9 years? I mean, when you joined Warrington, there was enormous buzz, and I guess Warrington being Warrington, the expectations are always super high. How would you sum up the sort of 9 years there?
Yeah, I had some really good years, some average years, and some not so good years. So a bit of a mixed bag, really. Made quite a few finals. I think I made two grand finals, 3 Challenge Cups, and obviously won the league leaders once or twice, I'm not sure, and obviously out of them finals only won 1 Challenge Cup, which is obviously disappointing. But yeah, most of the years we were there or thereabouts, all making finals. But like I said, disappointed as an overall of the goal with the 9 years to only come away with 1 bit of silverware.
I mean, that's a successful period for most clubs, isn't it? You know, but just Warrington's Warrington. But was the other thing I was going to ask you, your own game. Has it changed much in your time at Warrington, or do you think you've been pretty consistent in the way you play the game?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Obviously, I feel like it's been pretty consistent throughout, but I'm pretty sure other people could judge on that a bit more than me. But yeah, I feel like it's been pretty consistent throughout the 9 years.
Yeah. So I'm back, and we're here with the captain. And as he just pointed out, he hasn't just extended for 3 years; he's extended 2 years on top of this year. But congratulations on all that, Jonny Lomax.
Thanks, Steve. I suppose proud moment, really, particularly around the captaincy. Something that probably dreamed about as a young lad. I've been a supporter all my life, and in some ways been acting vice captain to James for the last few years and filled in when he's not been there. But I think the actual feeling of actually being given it probably took me back a bit more than I expected, and something that I'm immensely proud of, and I hope to try and make other people proud by what we can do as a group.
At what point did it dawn on you last year that the captaincy was going to be a thing? I mean, obviously there's a big deal around James. Every game he played was his last this, his last that. But when did you start to go, oh, someone's got to be captain,
In a weird way, I probably didn't. Probably didn't, to be honest. I was kind of one of them things that as this pre-season's gone on, a couple of people have asked what's going on, and something that I was kind of in the thing, I'm going to continue to be myself. I think there's a level of authenticity and consistency that you have to bring, whether or not you're the standout captain or just part of that leadership group. Continue to try and do the right things, but have good values, good beliefs and good behaviours. I think that's something that goes hand in hand with what you should be doing. So I suppose in some ways that never really crossed my mind until people started asking what was going on with it. And it became more of a thing of I've no idea, I've not heard anything, and then when it was actually given to me, probably, as I say, caught me a bit off guard, knocked me back a bit more than I probably expected.
I remember talking to you on the way out of Penrith Stadium almost a year ago, and you talked about how many injuries you had, and you were playing injured all the time. How did the season play out for you in that area? Did things get better, or were you playing pretty wounded every week?
No, I think everyone probably gets to that stage, don't they, when they start the season fresh, and it's everyone kind of talks about it and it's cliche, but it's a roller coaster, the ups and downs of it. I think what you've got to do with them ups and downs is you've got to enjoy every bit of it, enjoy the journey of it, because we've got the bad bits, the ups are never as good. So I think that it was generally pretty good. You're always carrying a bit of niggle here and there. Back in the year, a bit difficult with a bit of a rib problem. They can present its other complications, but at the end of the day, you've just, I suppose, got to keep trying to do the right thing for the group, the lads, and obviously have that bit of sense with where you might be pushing it too far.